I have a question that I've been struggling with this one ever since I read this hadith, which stuff a lot. I have to admit I didn't like when I read it. And the hadith is the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said that the people of Yemen are the best of people. And I also read the hadith where it says that there's no race is better, there's no racial supremacy. And then I read this one, and to this day I'm still struggling to believe, like, why are the people of Yemen better? What does that mean?
Change your profile picture.
This is my niece.
You can do. Can I see her?
Yes.
Can I?
I love it. No problem.
No, haram. Anyhow, listen.
No, Sheikh, tell him.
First of all, we as Muslims have to have submission, certainty, no questions asked, no strings attached. This is Quran, I believe it. Do you fully embrace it? Yes. No questions asked. This is a hadith. Do you take it? Is it authentic? Is it?
That's what I read, yeah.
Then if it's authentic, it's from Allah. How could I be shaky? Because if you want to be shaky, this means that you don't have certainty. And when you don't have certainty, you're this close to flipping to the dark side.
But, I mean, how are we able to judge how authentic hadith is, or...?
You don't. How do you judge whether this neurosurgeon who's going to do a spine cord surgery on you is authentic or not?
Judged by opinions of other people.
Okay, so by whose people?
The professionals.
Professionals. So you go to the scholars.
That's why I'm asking you.
I'm coming to you. I'm not answering yet. I'm just setting the foundation for the belief. The biggest problem we have with the Westerners from America and from Canada and from Europe is that they don't have their Islam on cemented area. They're so easy to flip to the other side. And that's why you find many of them starting to be good and strong and mashallah, and all of a sudden, I have doubts. Why? The Prophet married Aisha when she was 9. Ooh, you're a kafir. If you doubt the Prophet ﷺ for a second, you're a full-fledged kafir. Get the heck out of my house.
So this clip has gone absolutely viral, and because it pertains to the deen and I've got a special place and special love for reverts in my heart, I thought that it's important to react to this. And also because I don't think many people would give you this perspective that I'm about to give on it. So first things first, I was never the biggest fan of Sheikh Assim Al Hakeem. Actually, funnily enough, and ironically, because of the way he is so blunt in the way that he talks. Having said that, over the years, as time passed and as I've traveled more and I've sat with more and more scholars and more just uncles in general, especially those who live in the Middle East, I've come to understand him and his ways a lot better. So let's discuss what he said and give you my take on it. So Sneako started this off by saying that he was having doubts, to which the Sheikh said, if you have doubts, then you are a kafir. And I don't disagree with him. I don't disagree with that statement. I have had serious issues pertaining to the deen at times, but never doubts. And I've never been in doubt about Allah and His Messenger. And even at the hardest of times, where still to this day I feel like I had to go through more than I was able to bear, I never had any doubts. Questions and curiosity are good things because it helps to firm your faith. But to say you have a doubt means that what? 99% you agree with, but one thing you read without understanding, and you're now having doubts about Islam. So this is why the Sheikh said that your faith needs to be firm, and that's why he started off with this general foundational message, which was you can't have doubts as a Muslim. The two things can't coexist in the same mind, because the more you look into Islam, the more questions that you're naturally going to have. And that's why there's so many of these so-called Quran-only Muslims, because they didn't like something that they read in the books of Hadith and then they just threw them out, right? So firstly, I think that it was misworded by Sneako. I don't think he doubted his faith or doubted the hadith or doubted Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I just think he had a question. So I think he misworded that by saying that he had a doubt. Because like I said, if you're a Muslim, you should have no doubts. That's what the Sheikh said as well. If you're a Muslim, then you shouldn't have doubts. You can't have doubts. So if you have a doubt, then maybe you weren't actually Muslim. Maybe you said, maybe you wanted to be, but maybe you weren't actually Muslim. Therefore he's saying you're a kafir. He's not taking him out of the fold of Islam. He's almost just saying like, are you sure you even came in? And having a doubt is like you're walking around looking over your shoulder, waiting for something to pop up, waiting for that thing that makes you say, you know what, I knew all along it wasn't true. So I don't think that's the case with Sneako, but I think moving forward he should word it differently, not as a doubt, just merely as a question. You could say, Sheikh, I have a question about a hadith that I read, I didn't understand it, and I wanted to bring it to someone of knowledge, someone learned who could explain it to me. Once you get that explanation, you don't have to take it. You don't have to say, yeah, that was true. 100% I agree with it. Because not everyone can explain things to people in the way that they will understand it or even that they will like it, clearly in this case. Right? So there's certain things, even with myself, where I had questions over something and I asked somebody and he gave me a very flippant answer and you just think, that didn't really satisfy my answer. But then you hear somebody else give the same answer just worded differently and it makes all the sense in the world. So that's the first thing. Muslims are people who submit their will to Allah. You cannot have doubts as a Muslim. It's an oxymoron. The two things can't live together in the same mind. But then let's move on to the Sheikh's response, where he said, you're a kafir if you have doubts. And like I explained, I don't disagree with him on this. I actually agree with him. And when he said it, I started thinking about it myself and all the questions that I have. And I thought, do any of these questions give me doubt? And the answer is no, it doesn't give you doubt. It just means that there's part of the deen that is unclear to you and it needs to be cleared up. Not a doubt. However, the Sheikh clearly didn't read the room. He was too relaxed, and from the looks of it, they were at his house. And you know what? I've not actually heard anyone thank him for inviting them into his house. Like I didn't hear Sneako say, you know what? I appreciate him inviting us to his house, but like, why can't you just start off with some sort of gratitude and appreciation? This is an old man. He's let you into his house. He's giving you his time. He's a busy guy. He's got lots of people that would love to meet him, but he's let you into his doors and you've left those doors and you're bashing him. And it's not just Sneako. I mean, you had Sheikh Uthman, you've had Ali Dawa comment on it, and I didn't hear anyone mention about just having gratitude for the fact that this guy let you into his house. Like, if you came to my house for the first time, I invite you to my home, and then I see videos saying like, yo, this guy was saying some messed up stuff, man, I don't agree with him, you know, forget this guy. I would be like, yo, like, that's rude. You know, that's rude. You know, you can disagree with me, no problem, but at least show some gratitude that I brought you into my home, I gave you tea and coffee, maybe some food as well. Like, where is the thanks? I didn't hear any of that. And as Muslims, we need to get better at this. We need to get better at being grateful to each other for the small acts of kindness that we do. And it's an arrogant stance to go to his house, and even if it wasn't his house, for the Sheikh to have given you his time to speak with all those brothers, and okay, he said something that you didn't like. Does that mean that we can't appreciate the other 99% of that experience? And it kind of goes back to the whole point of this, which is how having that 1% of doubt in your iman spills over into the rest of your life, where you spent an hour with the Sheikh, maybe even more. I mean, that stream was about 45 to 50 minutes long, so I assume that you were there for more than an hour. And the Sheikh said one thing that you didn't like, and then suddenly the internet starts attacking him. I don't think that's right. And let me remind you, I'm not the biggest fan of the Sheikh either. I'm not like sticking up for him because I love him so much and, you know, I want to push his da'wah more than anybody. Like, I have no skin in the game other than just being a Muslim. But we need to have manners. We have no idea what the Sheikh has done for Islam. We have no idea how many people he's brought into Islam, how many people he's helped to become Muslim. So you watching this and me making this video will likely never have the kind of impact that the Sheikh has had for the world, for the deen of Islam. But like I said, clearly he didn't read the room and he was too relaxed. And it was almost as if he felt like he was amongst friends. Like the Sheikh felt like he was amongst good people, friends, who he could be free with. Because the way that he was speaking was like he was just chilling with some of his Saudi Sheikh scholar friends. And, you know, they were just laughing about, oh, you know, this guy, he had a doubt. I told him he's a kafir, bro. You know, it's that type of thing. And then the guy would laugh. And the thing is you're just looking at the iceberg, right? He's just talking at the tip of the iceberg, right? There's so much depth to what he's actually saying, but he's just said one sentence: if you have doubts, you're a kafir, right? And because he felt like he was amongst friends, and maybe he felt like he was amongst people who were a bit more learned and a bit more knowledgeable than they actually were, he just said what he said, because that's how you talk when you're with your friends, right? You just talk in stereotypes, you talk in high level, you talk in a certain way that gets a funny reaction, or, you know, a certain type of reaction. So that's what I mean by he didn't read the room. I don't think he necessarily understood who these people were. And the thing is, this type of bluntness that the Sheikh has can work on some people, and clearly it works on lots of people. He has millions of followers, right? So his way of talking does work with people, just not with this room, not with this group of people. It didn't rub off in the right way. I mean, they were all laughing about the Glock 9 joke and this, that and the other, but when he said something which was a joke that wasn't understood, everyone starts attacking him. And so it clearly didn't work with Sneako. But over time, I'm sure that he'll look back on this and he will understand what the Sheikh meant. He wasn't calling him a kafir, pointing a finger at him and saying, you're a kafir. He didn't do that. So I think Sneako will understand in time what the Sheikh was saying. He was saying, generally speaking, if you have doubts, you must be a kafir, meaning you shouldn't have doubts as a Muslim. But questions are okay, questions are fine, questions are great. And actually something that the Sheikh said at the start of the stream, I really liked. He said something that actually made me like him a bit more, where he said to the brothers, he said, look, I don't know you guys, and it's not from a perspective of arrogance that I don't know you guys, I just don't have time to keep up with all of these things. And actually that's pretty reassuring coming from a scholar, a sheikh, to say that he doesn't know these YouTubers. If he did know all of these YouTubers and he was, you know, some type of a fanboy, like, really, is this the type of sheikh and scholar that we want to have? Like, do we really want to have sheikhs and scholars that sit there and watch Adam Saleh vlogs all day long? Like, I don't think that's the type of scholar that is going to be able to give his community, the world, the right type of nasiha, because his mind is distracted. And it was just the way that he said that I felt showed a lot of humility, which I appreciated. So to wrap this video up, I would say, Sneako, it's okay to have questions. Questions are natural, questions are normal. There is literally no question that you can ask about Islam that people will take offense to. But to have a doubt means that you've already got one foot out the door. Like, who are you to say that you don't like something that the Prophet said? And Sneako did say that. He said, you know, I read something and I didn't like it. Like, subhanAllah, who are you to say that? Like, I'm not surprised the Sheikh Assim Al Hakeem was saying, like, generally speaking, people who come across that way are kafirs. Like, in their heart, they are kafirs. Because, who are you to say that you didn't like something that the Prophet said? Who are you to then say after that, okay, maybe he didn't say that and it's an incorrect hadith? Like, who are you to say these things? Like, and I have to say, I feel like the brothers that were around Sneako should have advised him better on this, but they didn't. And a scholar has now been attacked online because of this. So I think Sneako owes Sheikh Assim Al Hakeem an apology for bashing him almost afterwards, and then allowing that bashing to continue. And then, you know, the people like Ali Dawa, like Sheikh Uthman, who have made videos about this, which is why I'm mentioning that they made a video reacting to this. like I feel like they should also apologize to the Sheikh as well, because they were just literally in agreement with the fact that they didn't like the Sheikh saying that if you have doubts then you're a kafir. I think they should know better, and they should advise Sneako better, and they should enjoin the good and forbid the evil. So I really feel like the brothers around him should have advised Sneako better, and I feel like they owe Sheikh Assim Al Hakeem an apology for the inconvenience that this may have caused him. And the thing is, we don't know the ramifications of this for the Sheikh, because it's possible that a lot of people might not want to work with the Sheikh now moving forward. Sneako's a very, very prevalent guy, someone who's very influential. I mean, that group is pretty much the top content creators in the Muslim space altogether, right? And not a single one of them, I've not heard a single one of them say, you know what, thanks to the Sheikh for actually giving us his time. Thanks for the Sheikh for giving us tea and coffee and food and whatever it might have been, and just sitting with us. I really appreciate it. I didn't like this. I didn't like what the Sheikh said here, but you know what? He was a very nice guy, very hospitable, and this question that I've got is probably better that somebody else answers the question rather than Sheikh Assim. And Sneako made a video talking about the Sheikh in Medina, or might have been Makkah, but I think it was in Medina. We just have to be really careful. Like, how do you know you're not going to be caught backbiting or caught as a slanderer from what you've just said on that video about Sheikh Assim when you're walking down the street? Like, you've got to be very, very careful with what you say. Like, your words are very, very... Like, to become a Muslim is through words, right? You say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. So those are the words that you say, and those words change the entirety of eternity, right? So words mean things. Right, so when you backbite, when you slander, then these things will count against you, and the Sheikh will take all of your good deeds and all of your rewards. So no matter what you thought of him, you might have just given him one of the best paydays he's ever had by backbiting and slandering against him. So that was just a general lesson that I wanted to give to everyone, which is, you know what? Say less, do more, pray more, subscribe.